Okay, cool. I'm back. Okay. Now I'm trying to remember where I was at. Okay, I was at the voices and religion and hearing those thoughts in your mind and how to combat it. Um, yeah, I've learned that all that negative talk that just like, I mean, it comes and tries to take over. I don't have it happen a lot nowadays, but like it'll still happen. But it's like it almost tries to come over and take over your mind. I mean, it's going and just repeating crazy shit. I mean, it can get dark. I mean, even going into like, why don't you go like, kill yourself? I mean, just so much crazy shit that it says, okay, that it's combating. Um, and you're like, I mean, for those who don't understand what's going on, I can understand how freaky that is because I remember at a time when I didn't know what it was and it was super freaky to me. It was super freaky, okay? Um Having those kind of attacks. But I'm glad that I know now is just to be out in nature, grounding something I've always done since I was a kid. I never really wore shoes a lot. So I was always the girl that walked around barefooted all the time and people would laugh about it, but I'd be like, this feels good. I don't know what you're talking about. But um yeah, but for those that don't know what's going on with that, I can understand how scary that can be. And then also, like I was saying, with voices, it's not all doesn't mean all the time they're bad. You could be picking up on like songs that maybe someone's thinking about you and you're picking up on that song, or you can be picking up on someone thinking about you in different ways. I mean, that can happen a lot. I've had different situations where if someone's like angry with me, I'm picking up on that. I mean, I can pick up on that pretty strong. I mean, it's almost like pictures on the wall, and even just like, in the air or whatever, I will get like weird, almost kind of like a shape of their face and their eyes, like mean mugging me or like, doing that evil eye shit. And I mean, oh, and that even would do it's kind of like the voices thing where it starts making you feel really sick and really bad. But like, I'm glad that I know how to fight it more now. With meditating helps with that, but like when it's super bad, just go outside. Just go outside in nature, hold plants, trees, whatever, and to get that off of you, whatever it is, to get it away from you. I got this tattoo when I was let's see if I can show it on here. I got this tattoo. It's of an eye with flames, and I remember getting that at 18 or 19. And I've always wanted an eye tattoo for some reason. Even growing up, I would draw eyes a lot, in fire, and I felt like it was like, oh, like an eye is always the gateway of like the truth, like seeing the truth and like knowledge. So for some reason, I always had that, as that symbol of truth and knowledge with the eye. And then, like, later, I learned that it's also protection against the evil eye, which I'm like, wow, that's super cool. Because, man, all my life in different situations, oh my gosh, and just certain family, like, oh my gosh. And, you know, I love my family, and I'm a little lighter skinned, than some of my family, but like some will treat you differently in a certain sense of like, oh, this child is so beautiful because they are light skinned and this, and then you can see everybody's eyes like, ah, and you're like, oh my God, everybody's fucking beautiful. This shit is fucking sick and it's making me feel sick. And it's like, oh my God, you know? So, yeah, I had to deal with that a lot. Just growing up, period. So I'm glad there's a lot of ways to combat the evil eye and just people thinking fucked up about you, or I mean even yourself, you know, I would say not lower self but more unconscious probably thoughts. You probably say some, I know everybody says fucked up things throughout the day. I mean, I catch it all the time, or like calling themselves a loser or dumb or stupid or idiot. Or I'm just like, man, you gotta really stop doing that, you know? Just because you mess up or not do something perfect or not perfectly right or something like that doesn't make you stupid or dumb. It's just sometimes you just don't know. You didn't know. A lot of times you just didn't know. Or maybe you're going too fast and you just slow down. And, you know, it doesn't make you stupid, though. So it's having a look at all those types of things. And I think so the mind thing and the voices. Oh, okay. Now the seeing stuff. Because they say that, you know, with the diagnosis I got, you know, you'll be like delusional and illusions and stuff like that. Okay, now this one might be a little harder to explain, but when it comes to like ghosts or spirits, that's not delusional. Or when it comes to uh, like auras or orbs or uh, okay, I would see sometimes I could get in a state to where I see dark, it looks like dark energy, like this black, like energy circling someone. It's like circling someone. And I can see that too. Um, and it's usually like when they're in a fit of a rage or like, I mean, they're like freaking out super bad. Like I can see this dark energy that's just like circling them. And that's not being delusional or hallucinations or things like that. Everything's energy, which everything's energy. I mean, sometimes I can, if I'm focusing enough, I can see through everything. I can see through this, I can see through everything around. You know, I mean, I see like the particles breaks down, kind of like static or whatever with everything around. So, I mean, you can see the essence of everything and the energy that it's carrying. But when I was younger, I didn't understand what it was or if it was being delusional or I mean, when I was younger, I didn't understand a lot of stuff or why I was seeing things or what was going on or words or terms for these things. And that, yeah, that doesn't make you delusional. Now, gaslighting, where people are trying to tell you that the sky is yellow and the sky is blue, and they keep repeating it. And it's almost like you can switch it to that color. Or like someone's telling you that you're the problem or that you're doing something that you're not doing, but it's them, you know, pushing stuff back on you so much. And if you've gone through that since a child, which many of us have, I mean, the society lives off of that, that you could become delusional because you're, in that sense, believing, you're like, did did that really happen or did it not? Or what? Like, I know my mind's not playing tricks on me because I know that this person just said this and now they're trying to say that it's something else. And like, I know I'm not crazy, okay? And like to me, like when you start breaking away and realizing, and see, this is also you have to break away from gaslighting. If you're really sure of yourself and really tuned into your intuition, your higher self, your awareness, and being able to remember, because when you meditate, it helps you remember. It helps you um, slow down your mind. So all the images and thoughts that are coming to you super fast and all that stuff, it like slows it down so you can take in everything at a time instead of everything just goes so fast. And that's when you start not remembering shit. So when people can't remember things well, which a lot of people can't, that's how they can play on you with the gaslighting and make people be living in kind of like delusional from certain things. The media does this too. Like they love to go back and forth with what they say, and people just kind of like go, oh, they were saying one thing 1 minute, then now they're saying something else. And it's like, okay, which one is it? Why don't you use your own eyes, your own brain, your own thinking, and instead of relying on what someone else is saying, you won't get caught up in delusional and all this other stuff and, seeing the world weird instead of actually seeing what's in front of you. That's when people get, and I feel like that probably happens to a lot of people. I mean, if you're telling people certain things, and even if their eyes don't see it that way, I mean, and they are told it so many times that they could, be in illusion and delusions of seeing it weird. But when you're tapped into your higher self, meditating and things like that, no one can fuck you over with lying to you, trying to tell you something that something is that it's not, because I mean, you've been building up that like remembering and like seeing the world as it is, like actually using your eyes to see what's going on, like, and knowing and not just having blind faith to certain things, just like, oh, just have blind faith, it's to be in illusions. That's why a lot of people are in those type of illusions. They're like, oh, did I just see that happen or did I not? Or what was that? So yeah, meditating, that definitely helps with remembering. So nobody can gaslight you. Nobody can gaslight you. Because it's like, I already know. So you're not fooling me at all. But there was a time that I was in a state of being gaslighted a lot and believing, not all the time, because I would stand up and fight for myself. But I know that there was times that I'd be like, did it happen that way? Or I was, and believing that, I'm actually the one in the wrong for whatever reason. And going through that can be super intense too. Can make you feel like you're crazy. They do even state that, being gaslighted a lot can make you feel crazy. That's also, people being told that they can't have emotions, not have any feelings about certain things, especially I bet that's really tough with the guys. I was part of kind of like the guys growing up, so like I totally understand it because I felt like crying was a bitch, pussy, punk, whatever. Just so much stuff towards like that would be weak when it's actually the opposite. It actually makes you weak when you can't, because you are turning into like a robot or like a drone or something, because when you have certain situations happen to you, you can't express yourself, you can't function, you don't even know what's going on, because it's like you can't tap into that because you're like, I don't know, you'll have different outlets. Because I remember with pain or like hate or anger or something like that, like not being able to be angry. You can be, to me, there's that where it's good to be angry in certain situations. So turning that off all the time and being like, oh, I need to be this perfect angel. No, that's going to fuck you up. And I mean, that's, I think, when people get into partly the whole, um, the religious saying, oh, you're so horrible, you're sickness, you're this and this and this, where people get into self mutilation, and not feeling real. I remember when I would do it, self mutilation, I would not feel real. It would probably be some fucked up situation going on, but I didn't feel real. But I'd be so upset. And after I would do it, I felt better because it's like you're punishing yourself in some kind of way for having feelings and emotions or whatever. And, and I wouldn't feel it as the process is going on, but maybe like the next day I would, and stuff like that. So I'm glad I haven't done that for, whew, I know it's been over 5 years. And I've been saying that probably for some years, going, oh, it's been over 5 years. So it's been probably a while now since I've done anything like that. And that means you're getting better. That means you're fighting the whole people calling you not divine, not great, sickness, this vomit, because we're not. Once you do a lot of truth seeking, you learn that actually we're all divine. Everything's greatness. No one can be you. We're priceless. All these badass things that we are, even though sometimes you might not feel like that because of how much, like the energy experiment of love, like saying love to a certain thing, or I mean, it could be what they did the rice, saying love to the rice. I did this experiment with kids, saying hate stuff to the rice and then just ignoring the rice. And it was about showing what our words, our spelling, can really affect our um, everything around us and ourselves. So our words are definitely powerful in what we do, because it showed that when you say hateful things, things become decayed. It like rots. So someone who goes through horrific abuse or any kind of abuse, mental, physical abuse, their energy and aura is becoming rotten and becoming bad. Like it's affecting them. And you probably even be able to see it where they live and how they act and things like that. That the energy that they're carrying is like it's raw, it's like decaying because of how that person has been treated. And then they're probably repeating the process over and over, even when they get free with for certain situations, because they've had all that pushed on them, that they're going through that. I mean, I understand this because I've overcome a lot of, I mean, some states of how I was living. Oh my gosh, like around me, you can just tell that my mind was just so fucked up. I mean, even nowadays, I still kind of, you can tell my mind is not where I want it to be, but it's way better than before. Okay. So, but I do see how, like, someone who's shown love and understanding and compassion and things like that, how their energy would just be so much full more of life. They were smiling all the time, just so much more full of life, so ready to go, so just, all over the place. Even with kids that you see that just have energy to just all over the place. They're not stuck in a little corner somewhere, just like sulking and becoming like this ball of like, kind of like I did growing up. But I think it's awesome that kids have that kind of energy and they're just, going wild with it. I think that's what we're supposed to be like, not the opposite. I also remember when I thought people smiling was just so fake and so phony and disgusting. That's how you know how bad my mind was. I mean, I go through that sometimes now, where like it will bother me sometimes, but definitely not as bad as it used to. I couldn't even have people in my energy field. I didn't do hugs. I didn't do the love thing. I didn't say I love you and all that kind of stuff. I did not do any of that touchy feely shit. And I was never like a romance person with like watching romance or comedies. I'm more into those nowadays. Watching romance stuff and comedies. It's actually really cute and funny and it's uplifting. Um, but no, I was more about like death and things like that growing up. And I think that's with, certain religions that just, I mean, they worship death. I mean, think of Jesus on the cross, bleeding, his heart out of his chest, nails in his head, talking about, you know, eating the body and the flesh of Jesus all the time. I mean, you're worshiping death. It's pretty sick. Um, but once you go through those realizations of it, because you're not going to get everything at once, it's going to be like steps of redoing your brain. So, once something like that hits you, because you come from that, you're like, I mean, it's like, oh, like I've been part of some kind of satanic cult, vampire fucking thing since birth. That is crazy shit. No wonder I was so into vampires. But I mean, I feel like you can't even get, even if you struggle with like eating meat and like struggle in certain areas, I feel like you're still super amazing and you're innocent because you've woken up to it and you know where you want to go, and like sometimes you don't, but like you see it, and then it takes the steps of fighting it. It's not like you can do everything at once. Like thinking you're gonna need to do everything at once is overwhelming. I do that sometimes. I overthink a lot. That analysis paralysis shit. I do that a lot. Um, but yeah, and with me studying different, texts and things like that, we should be celebrating life, celebrating living. You know, that's probably also why humans don't live that long compared to how they used to live, like hundreds of thousands of years, or thousands of years, hundreds of years, 500 years. We don't celebrate life. Everybody wants to die, and they don't look at this realm. They look at this realm as like death. So they're not thinking of immortality and stuff like that. So it's just like death, death, dying, dying continuously, because that's what everybody's putting out there. So not everybody, but a lot of people are putting out there. So it definitely comes into a mind change. You got to do a mind change. Um, and I know that I've gotten a lot better in my mind than I used to, where I was before to where I am now. Coming out of death culture and death cults and things like that, and then still being surrounded by a lot of people who don't even get it. I mean, that's why I sometimes I get mad But then at other times I don't really get that mad because they don't get it, you know? It's kind of like a little kid saying something, repeating something that they were told as a kid, and they're just repeating it, but they don't really get it. They don't really get it. You don't really get it till you really get it, and then you're like, "Oh wow, that's what that is." You know, but a lot of people don't read the religious books as like a book and history and things like that and what happened and what they're really saying. They read it as, oh, this is the word of God. God is actually speaking this out of this, their mouth, and this is what I got to follow and stuff like that. And they're not putting the big picture and everything together. So, but yeah, there was a point in time when like the words in the book, it's like I actually started reading it for what it was, and under, that's when I think my brain was like seeing everything more for what it was instead of being in delusions and illusions of what things are, because that's even being delusional, saying, oh yes, the blood of Christ saves me and this, but they don't even really know what they're saying and what it is. And then they're in illusions and things like that, and I don't feel bad or sorry for anyone. I feel like if people are going to get it, they'll get it in their time or they won't or whatever. I'm more focused on myself and saving myself and getting my brain right so no one can fuck with me. If anybody else, they got their own path and their own shit that they're going to be dealing with. That ain't me. So why am I going to worry about that? I'm going to worry more about me getting right, not everybody else. I mean, I like to help. That's why I'm here, because it helps me doing this. And if it helps someone else, that's cool too. That's going through the same shit. But I am more focused on me. That might sound selfish or whatever. It's not, because I don't want to be in delusions and illusions my whole fucking life. Always just going by what other people say instead of actually what's true and using my own brain to think for myself. Um, Trying to think of what else I could say about getting out of delusions and things like that. It's all more about seeking truth and changing your mind. Like you can do that. Like even though I had a low, like I know that I don't, whatever they call it, don't produce that happy stuff a lot. If I did certain things more, which I'm working towards that, of course, and I do it sometimes. I like to dance, and I take stuff to help me right now, so I'm just not so like not wanting to do anything at all to help me to just go with it unless it's natural. It's I go more the natural way. I don't take prescriptions, but I'm definitely glad I mean, I do feel bad for those that get diagnosed, um, with things like personality disorders or schizophrenia and things like that, and they don't know what's going on really, because in the Western world, they'll make you feel like you're crazy and they won't help you. They don't help you with what's really going on. Like I understand it more when I study like, Indian culture, shaman. I mean, all the different like really understanding this place and this world. Enoch, well, no, not Enoch. Well, yeah, I've studied Enoch, but Emerald tablets with Thoth really helps you to understand certain things. Um, but yeah, when you're going through it, it feels like hell, and I think they brought you to hell. I think they brought your mind to hell for sure, and you got to get out of that. Got to get out of it. Get your energy back. It's like your energy has been drained, sucked away, destroyed in some kind of way. Uh, yeah, I remember the dark energy thing that would like float around people when they're acting super crazy and stuff. I'd be like, "Am I losing my mind? Like, what's going on right now?" Or why? Like, I feel like I'm losing it. I better go outside. I better get away from the situation because I'm losing it. And it's like, no, man, that person's like really super tripping, but it's good that you got away from it because you're thinking that you are the problem, and that's the whole gaslighting shit. That, oh, the beast is inside you doing it. You're the demonic thing that you're the one creating this going on. It's like, no, that person is yeah, doing it. Yeah, okay. So I'm just so glad I can tell the difference now. I can tell the difference way more now, uh, with a lot of different things, and that's what it's about. It's about becoming more clear-headed, being more in your intuition, being more with your higher self. When I was breaking, I think that's what happened when I couldn't recognize myself that day. Was my higher self was showing through like big time. And but that's when my higher self wasn't as much around. Um so it's like peekabooing, peekabooing, I see you. And as time was going on, I think even my higher self might have been the shadow person that I saw around me sometimes. Because there would be, when I would start going through these really like crazy mind altering things, like awakenings to certain things, it's almost like that shadow would appear and be right there with me when I'd be going through that. Like, I mean, my mind would be just like, oh my gosh. Sometimes I would hold crystals or like different things, and that shadow would come. And it was like I was probably merging more of myself together to complete myself instead of being shattered and separated from myself. Because they say that like you can be shattered from parts of yourself that people have called bad or not good or evil or whatever. It's like bringing that part back to yourself instead of being separated from it. Like, uh, and not in those times, like when you're really separated from it, you don't even know. Like when you switch into the other side, might be what some of those blackouts are too. Is like when you switch to the other side, it's like you don't even know what the fuck's going on because you have cut that away from yourself, even though it's still you. It's like separated itself from itself. But once you start merging it, it's like you remember everything. You start, I mean, I don't still remember some things about my past, but like I remember more of what goes on nowadays, more now, every day of what's going on in my life now. And it's like it's merged more my higher self. Um, but yeah, I feel like seeing like ghosts or things like that, that's not being in delusions or illusions. because you can see imprints of other people's energy, or just I mean, I feel that if certain people could get to a certain level, they could walk through a wall, they could do, it'd be just like the dream world. You can do whatever you want here in a sense of like your body and doing certain things. So if you see someone that's kind of doing those things, it's not that it's not real, you know, or you're delusional. But let me think. What if I want to add anything else? Yeah, and it's to control your mind more, because mind control is just, it's not that you're not you. It's just other people are influencing you to think a certain way and to believe a certain way. So it's almost like they have control of your mind and of your life and how you see things and how you're doing things. So it's about mastering yourself so you don't get persuaded or influenced by all these outside sources or these outside things, psychic attacks and all those different things, where things can't even affect you. You know, I don't care what they're doing, spraying us, saying, people are going to get sick, a virus or whatever. If you're set your mind to a certain knowing, then you can be untouchable, limitless. And I know this is possible because I've done a lot of those things. So am I going to go against myself and be in delusion and be like, "Oh my gosh, that's not real. That's not real." Or am I going to be in the knowing of it? And it is all about knowing of it, because if you're doing the faith thing, the to me it's doubt. It's like, "Oh, just have faith." But then there's room for doubt. It's not actual knowing. Like, I know, my feelings, what I've experienced, I know that I'm out in space with other, like, I'm a star out there in the universe with other stars that are projecting this place. I don't believe that man or people have been able to just shoot to space with a rocket and be up in outer space, because it's like the realm is different. The star, like, even though we can, I don't even know if when we're looking up there, if, because it talks about a dome and them making this place a certain way, because we might be cut off to how certain things really look and things like that. But okay, so I'm not even sure about the star thing, us seeing the stars and stuff like that. But I mean, it could be. And it says, because it's like a mirror thing. But when I close my eyes, it's like I'm like the third eye of me can see that I'm in the universe and I'm a star. When I open my eyes, I see this place. So it's like it's behind this place. I don't know. It's like both in the same thing. It's like we're in the same spot, in the same thing. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like that. And so, but I do have a knowing about that because I've experienced that. I mean, I was talking to a guy who was telling me, well, it says that we're the whole universe, we're everything. And I'm like, okay, well, we could be everything, but I haven't experienced that for myself. I haven't been going, I'm this star, like, okay, seeing myself glowing and then seeing all these other stars around me. I didn't see that I was them and I was the space and I was all that stuff. I didn't experience that part. I just experienced the one energy that I was being connected with, obviously all these other stars. That's what I experienced, not me being everything in the universe at once. Now, saying that we're not all I'm not saying that we're not all connected and that we don't have like the same energy kind of flowing through us and like different things, that we're like definitely connected, but I don't know, I feel that there is separate consciousness altogether, because in Enoch it says, not Enoch, Emerald Tablets, it was talking about be one with yourself, not one with everything. It was saying be one in yourself, be one with yourself. So I could be wrong. I mean, I could maybe get to the point of experiencing myself as the whole universe. But as this far as I know, I've only experienced to where I'm a star looking at other stars in the universe. This energy, I guess you would say energy. I'm this energy looking at these other energies, all making up a whole bunch of energy, and we're all projecting this place and pictures and images and things like that. That's what I've experienced. So, and I do have a knowing that everything's energy, because when I look at everything, it breaks down. I mean, it breaks down to energy. Everything breaks down to energy. So I have a knowing of that. So you want to get to in your mind that you have a knowing, because that makes you feel good, not faith, or, if you have doubt about certain things. If you have doubt and you jump from the freaking house to fly, you're not going to fucking fly. If you have any doubt, little teeny bit of doubt, it's just not going to work. It's not going to fucking work. Okay. I mean, I know I still have doubts. Otherwise, I'd be able to move stuff super easily without even really thinking about it. And, wouldn't have to struggle so hard of like sitting there for a while to get it to do what I needed to do. So I know that I still have doubts. Probably, you got to break down all your doubts. Like, which is your doubts? And I believe you don't want to have any fear. People are like, well, it's healthy and good to have certain fear. But my knowing, my beliefs on that, you shouldn't really have fear anything. You want to get beyond each fear you have. Like, I have a fear of spiders. I should be able to have a spider be able to walk up on me and chill, without freaking out, or a bee, certain things like that. There's a lot of things I'm not scared of, but I mean, that's just ridiculous. A spider that's like a little ant with longer legs. What is that? What is that? or, oh my gosh, I don't want to get stung. Oh my gosh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get on me. Oh, I gotta go. But yeah, I really believe you got to get over your fears. You want to go to the top. You got to get over all your fears and just take them a step at a time. You don't want to do them all at once. And then mind changing to greatness and limitlessness, not doubts and, oh, you're a horrible person. No. So yeah, that's helped me. And I mean, I do like the fact that, I found out my diagnosis, which was way back, a while back. called it paranoid schizophrenic thing. Yeah. And it does help me to understand why I do certain things and act the way I do in certain ways. Like if I feel really detached from people, if I'm really detached, well, there's a reason. There's a reason behind that. I mean, if there's not a lot of love shown, and if you're around people that talk shit all the time, and there's not a lot of love shown, then you're probably going to be pretty detached. And how to not be as detached, and then I still don't see it as a bad thing because, when you're around actually loving, caring people and people that do care and want to be around you, or, you're out in nature, with the animals, and, I can't have animals up on me all day, but I do give them hugs and attention sometimes, not all day. Um, I'm not as detached. I think of another one, being detached. So we went through like illusions, hallucinations, things like that, or voices. Um, okay, religious persecution. We kind of went through that too. Uh, think of if there's any other ones. Detach. Where you're more kind of like away from your body than actually in your body. It's like more being kind of like up in your mind and being detached from your body. Um, and that's also if I feel like you haven't participated a lot here growing up, like with certain things, like activities or people, or just because you were taught that the world was evil and that we need to be, we're supposed to go to heaven and all this other stuff. You're taught all that stuff, so you really became maybe closed off to this place and really experiencing this place, so that in that way it made you detach. Um, and what I'm doing to get better with that is, like I said, studying. Studying really helps with that. Knowing what this place is, um, so you can enjoy it and celebrate, being here. And knowing that nature is alive, everything's alive. Animism, the trees, everything, plants in their own ways, in their own conscious way, the earth, the sun, the moon, and every energy has its purpose. Learning the value and the purpose of everything and the actual, like, the real, not illusions, and you got to go to heaven somewhere far away and somewhere else. I've been to heaven. You can create heaven here, but I've been to heaven as the universe, and that's where we're from. And okay, I don't need to go back. I mean, I could visit there anytime. I'm there pretty much as above, so below at the same time. Okay. So, um, it's really valuing and seeing the beauty here. I mean, I know there's a lot of crap here that it's just, okay. They made it like hell in certain ways. But there still is a lot of beauty here in a lot of ways as well. And we can create our own reality in a sense. If we get our mind good enough and where we want it to be, you'll really be doing the Mandela effects, okay? Really changing the scenery around. I mean, it does already do that in ways, maybe not uh, huge ways, drastic ways, but it still does that all over the world because this place is not stable. It's not what a lot of people think it is. So Um, yeah. So going through that, just it's tough for me to really. I mean, I enjoy here because it's not something I'm used to or being present. you know, with people a lot. Like when people come to me or things like that, I am present with them. I listen and everything. I'm super present with them. But when they go, I'm alone or by myself or doing something, I'm not as present. So I've been working on being more like here, instead of off in my mind somewhere. Um, yeah, I think that's not sure what else I could talk on about that of like, the paranoia thing that goes with the voices thing and like, that degrading stuff and religion and people who, hate everything and talk shit all day. So, yeah, I'm just so glad I'm not where I used to be and to where I am now. Feel way more in control and getting what's going on. I do feel like I'm at a different level than other people are when it comes to perceiving and understanding what's going on in their environment, what's going on around them, what's going on. Because for me to do certain things or interact here, I got to really know the big picture of what all this is. So I think I know quite a bit when it comes to that, and it works in your favor, and that's pretty awesome. Okay. Well, I'm glad I got to chat on here about this. I hope it maybe gave you some insight. Uh, I really don't want people to be thinking that they're crazy or something's wrong with them or, really in delusions and illusions and stuff like that because I know how it feels. Um, and I really want more people to get out of that. And I believe a lot more people are waking up to things and getting out of that. And that's what's going to make this place better and help us. And I feel like that's one of my jobs is to help people get out of that, so they can understand things better or understand things, know what's going on and how to master themselves, master the realm around them. Okay, well, it's what, 140? I don't know how long I've been on here. I don't think it says. Oh, yeah, it does say almost an hour. Okay, cool. Well, awesome. Yeah, I think if I should say anything else. No? Well, I'll holler at you guys later. Y'all hang out later. Glad I got to come on here. Hugs, kisses. Bye.